Okay, so I decided to make this PowerPoint on the social control theory, sometimes known as control theory. I'm going to go through, explain the kind of original author of it, explain the theory itself, and then lastly, I'm going to go through and kind of explain some things that have been added on to the theory over the years. So the author of the theory is Travis Hershey. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. This is him right here in the corner. So Hershey's an American sociologist. He was born in 1935 in Utah, and he actually just passed away a couple years ago in 2017 on January 2nd. So he had degrees at every level. He had a bachelor's, a master's, and PhD. They're all kind of slightly different, but all of them, centered in sociology. So I think his bachelor's was in, I want to say sociology and history. The master's degree was like sociology and education of some sort. And then the PhD is, I think, in like general sociology. Um, so after he got his master's degree, he was actually drafted into the army, and he spent a couple years in the army. Once he got out of the army, he decided that he was going to go ahead and get his PhD. So he started working on his PhD, um, and he was doing that at the University of California at Berkeley. There's whenever he kind of encountered, I kind of mixed up the bullet points here, but that's when he started to encounter more of the works of Thomas Hobbes and Emile Durkheim, and those two individuals really influenced his works that he did produce throughout the rest of his life. So whenever he was at the University of at Berkeley, one of his professors, who I don't remember exactly what, I'm assuming the professor was in some sort of criminology class, but really influenced Hershey and got him really interested in criminology, and what caused criminals to commit crimes. So from there on, he kind of, that influenced his later publishing of some early works, some journals and stuff like that, and then another work that he worked on with another individual. But his first sole authored book he released in 1969. It's called Causes of Delinquency, and that's when he introduced this theory that we're about to delve into and discuss. So this theory, like I said before, it's kind of the original social control theory, authored by Hershey. The purpose of this theory is to kind of try to explain what causes people to commit crimes, or in other words, putting it another way, behave in a deviant manner. Um, So basically, it says that the likelihood to be deviant depends on the strength of our bond to society. So I'm going to touch on that a little bit more after I go through these. So according to Hershey, there's four ways to bond to society. First, attachment to conventional people. So conventional people are going to be like parents, um, siblings, teachers, coaches, things like that, that kind of help hold our social connections together. The second part of that is commitment to conformity. So commitment to conformity is basically conforming ourselves to the social norms. So, working a 9 to 5 job, going to school, uh, things of that nature that, again, are conforming to social norms. The third part is involvement in conventional activities. So conventional activities is basically just talking about your day-to-day activities. So if you're in schools, like sports or being involved in band, theaters, stuff like that. If you're an adult, more just like the day-to-day routines, like cleaning, grocery shopping, cooking, things of that nature. The last part of it is belief in moral validity of social norms. So basically, this is saying your personal belief that the social norms of your society you're involved in are morally valid. So you're not just doing them to try to fit in or trying to be normal, but you actually believe that they are morally correct. So Basically, what the theory, the idea behind this theory is that the thing that causes us to be deviant is if these one or all of these bonds to society are either very weak or just completely absent, and that is what causes us to be deviant. So later additions to this theory, the first one is a kind of a team effort between Hershey and another sociologist named Michael Gottfredson. So I added the idea of self-control. That self-control is also a really big determinant of whether we are involved in deviant behavior. So, as it says on here, the weaker your self-control is, the more likely you are to be involved in deviant behavior because you can't control your actions. You're more impulsive and things of that nature. So later on, as a little bit more time passed, another sociologist named Charles Tittle added the idea of control balance. So that's basically the balance between your control on other individuals and their control on you, on your social control. So there are two different um, items here that we're going to talk about, that if the control is out of balance, then these are going to be the two different ways it's going to be out of balance. Either control surplus, meaning you have too much control over other people, or control deficit, where you have too little control over other people and they have too much control over you. So either one of those either one of those ways that will be out of balance are going to cause deviant behavior. So it's a fairly simple theory, and these other couple of things have been added to it throughout the years. But that's basically what this theory is about. Here are a couple of my references, and thank you for listening to my presentation.